Welcome to Inspire and Move, the show that inspires you to create, connect, and grow. I'm going to bring you meaningful conversations, aha moments, and all the motivation you need to up-level every part of your life. I'm Ali Aruda, founder of Inspire and Move, and your personal hype girl. I've gone from fashion school to celebrity stylist to corporate marketing to brick and mortar entrepreneurship with my husband, each time learning incredible lessons how to pivot, reimagine, and implement the steps to become successful. I am passionate about inspiring others to live their best life, a life of joy. We have the power to design a life that we love because life is too short not to. The best part is that you weren't meant to do this alone. If you feel like you were meant for more, let me ride shotgun with you, and together, let's get you to where you want to go. Hello, you guys. Welcome back to the Inspire and Move podcast. I am your host, Ali Aruda, and today you are in for such a beautiful treat. I am joined by my dear friend, Dr. Michelle Peris, and we are going to have a duo episode together on both of our shows, and we are going to chat all things entrepreneurship, community, relationship building, getting in the room, all of these things that really turned me on in the world of being an entrepreneur and a high performer. So buckle up, get a cup of tea, kombucha, wine, whatever you want to enjoy, and please enjoy this episode.
All right, Ali, this is amazing. I'm so excited that we get to do this.
I'm so excited that we get to do this, and we get to be joined together in person, in studio, at Pearl Street Studio in downtown Burlington, just around the corner from Benchmark Fitness, which I obviously love so much. And I feel like we have had this beautiful, quick friendship that's just blossomed, but we've been online friends for longer than we've been IRL friends. And look at us just really stepping things into high gear in our beautiful relationship.
Yeah, when I had heard about you and then you invited me to an event, you're just like the most generous human ever. I was like, how are we not BFFs? Like, how have we not met before? So it's so nice. I'll say I practiced in Oakville for 13 years before moving to Burlington. And I just have to say, the Burlington community is just phenomenal. I feel, everything that we're about, community and connection, I feel like Burlington has it. And I'm not sure what took me so long to get here.
Now we need to get you back.
Yeah. So
put you in put in my pocket in downtown Burlington. I'm going to keep you here all the time.
I'm not going anywhere.
That's true. But we have really bonded quickly, I feel, over the love of, health and fitness, which we already have a whole other episode planned for that, but also motivating and inspiring others, especially women. But I mean, I know I have a business that's about community. It's a brick and mortar gym space that's male and female. But I think you and I both do a lot of work when it comes to building community and creating those meaningful, lasting relationships that inspires people to feel their best, both inside and out, which ties in so beautifully with your profession and what you do as a naturopathic doctor.
When I learned about how important, how fundamental human relationships were for our health and longevity, it became an undeniable thing to prioritize that almost over everything else. Our relationships at 50 determine our health at 80. It's essential, especially I think for women. I think we are wired to be in communion with each other and to be rooting for each other. It just became something that I prioritize for my business above, one-on-one care, which is I think what everyone's so used to, right? It was a bit of an audacious ask to be like, okay, well, how do we help people get healthy and, build this beautiful life? And I think it's done a lot easier when we do it in communion with each other.
Well, and don't they say that is one of our basic human needs? And I'm quoting this documentary that I've actually not even watched yet, but I think it's the documentary Blue Zones.
Yes.
That studies what, these 5 or however many blue zones, how terrible of me. I'm quoting this and I've not even seen it, but I'm excited to watch it. And they talked about what people need for that long lasting or just the longevity of life. Mm-hmm. And I believe that community is one of them.
Yeah. In every blue zone. And that's where the most highly populated centurions, so everyone who lives over 100, those densely populated areas all have community as a foundational piece as to why their survivability far surpasses everyone else.
And has community always been something that you've had a deep connection with, or has it been something that you've grown into as an entrepreneur or through what you've seen with your patients and in your practice? Is it, the world of social media and online?
For me, what brought me to being so focused on community was my lack of it from a very young age. And so there was always a want to fit in and a like chameleon-esque sort of way I moved through the world until I found belongingness. And once I had belongingness, that was it for me. That was the moment that I knew that I wanted other women to know what was possible, because it really changed how I saw everything and how much I believed in myself. It almost like fueled my passion, but it also, it fueled my own belief in myself and what was possible. And so I think that was like these little seeds that were planted early on. And then when I found out all of this research about social isolation and loneliness, and I had run like a couple group detoxes early in my career as a naturopathic doctor and loved how much the women connected with each other when they were going through struggle. It almost seemed to be more motivating. I'm sure you see this in the gym, is like, there's times where you want to like kick your trainer a little bit because they really push you to your absolute limit, but you don't, because you're in the arena together doing something really vitally important. And so when I opened up my own practice, I actually picked a location that had room for community. And I was like, if it doesn't work out, it's going to be okay. I'll just make it look like it was on purpose. It'll be an IV suite. It'll be fine. But it ended up taking over and being my entire focus for how I practiced and how women in my world actually like had like thriving health.
Yeah.
Right? Like not just, they were taking the supplements and doing the things, but they were actually, falling in love with their life and doing things that absolutely lit their souls on fire. They were healing their relationships. Like it just became fundamentally important to the work that I did. I really now hold the belief that I don't think we can have thriving health without it. Like we can take all the things, we can do all the right things, but without community, without a solid sense or foundation of belongingness, I think it's all pretty impossible. How about yourself? How did you get into community and connection and that being a priority for you? Because it seems like such a natural part of the business you run.
It's so funny that I think it's actually been something that's really become a big part of my life and my brand, more so over the last 5 to 10 years. I've been in Burlington 8 or 9 years, and we joined this gym that we have since bought. Which is so interesting. It's a big part of our story, is that we were members of this gym for a long time. But when we moved to Burlington, it was mostly because, we wanted to live in Southeast Oakville, but those home prices and property taxes were outside of our budget. So we thought, okay, why don't we just go a little bit further west and let's look in Burlington. It seems nice. It's close to the water. And so we ended up here, and we live in downtown Burlington, Ontario. But I didn't have any friends here. All my friends were still living in the city. They still loved like downtown Toronto city life. And it was a big change for me to move outside of the city. And, when people back then would call it like suburbia, which I feel like our city is booming and has this wonderful community and population of its own. But it does feel like, because I knew that you were totally going to turn the question back on me. And I was like, you better get your answer ready, Allie, and be prepared. But I feel like it has become something newer for me. The Inspire and Move brand has been around for, I should probably know my own brand anniversary, but I'd say about 10 years. But it started so differently than what it has evolved and grown into now. And I am so about community, and I really love bringing people together. And it's interesting because I'm an only child. I grew up as an only child, and I'm very independent, but yet I'm also extroverted. And as I've gotten older, I've realized I'm actually more of like an extroverted introvert, that I also really like alone time. But I love bringing people together and building community, especially now that I feel very comfortable and well connected and supported in downtown Burlington. And I love being able to create that for other people, whether it's mostly women through the Inspire and Move community and events, but also our gym, Benchmark Fitness, that is, co-ed gym. And I love when people share that they're new, and, making friendships or making friends as an adult is actually quite challenging. And how do you do that? Where do you go? And I feel like this is even kind of a cool pivot point for us from a conversation standpoint, is how do you make friends as an adult?
And it's not something that people talk about. They kind of realize that I don't have any friends. I've moved to this new city and I have no friends. Maybe you've transferred for a job, so you have a couple office friends, but then it could be weird of what are these like interpersonal office relationships like and office semantics. So where do you seek new relationships and friendships?
We created them.
Exactly. A mic drop for Ellie and Michelle's communities and events.
Yeah, I run a women's circle called the Wild Collective, and we just started our first 10 months with the new round of women, and every single woman was sharing why they were there, and I was like, it's taken 8 years to get it to the point that it is now, and to hear women say, I feel like I was just coasting, right? We have our roles as wives, mothers, CEOs, we run homes, we do all the things, and we can get lost in the mix of the everyday. And to hear women saying like, I want to remember all the moments. I want to be in the pulse of my life. I want to remember who I am. Like, that's everything for me. And I think that potential can happen when you create a safe environment for people to flourish and rediscover themselves, because I think we can get so tripped up on what our identity is, especially as we become career focused and all these aspects or facets of ourselves. And there's just so much more to life and to health than those things. And I think when we can create environments, and I would think that, well, you've obviously built something very special, because I'll say I don't know a lot of gyms that are doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah. So when early in my postpartum, I joined a gym, and there was, group fitness, and that changed the game for me. Even if I didn't talk or personally connect with all the women, it was like, I felt like I belonged to something. I felt like I needed to show up. I felt like my presence was missed, or I missed someone's presence when they weren't there. And it was so highly motivating in that early phase of, forgetting almost who you are, lack of sleep. And I would get up at 6 a.m. and go to these classes. And I think that's what attracted me to the work that you do, is now that I know how vital it is for my health, and I prioritize it over everything for my patients and for myself. Like, I want to be associated with brands and businesses that prioritize the same thing, because it's that important, and it makes life and doing hard things that much easier and more fulfilling. So I think you should be really proud of what you've built, because I certainly have, as Instagram friends, been very impressed by everything you've done.
Thank you. And I think there's something so powerful in the statement about, you could go the field of dreams quote of like, build it and they will come, but also building what you wish existed. And I hear a lot of founders talking about that when they create a brand or a product, that even Lori Harder, I'm a proud investor of her company, Glossy. And she had a big pivot with her business and product, but she now has Glossy, which is a skin hydration product that you can drink. It's a skin routine you can drink. And it's got electrolytes, probiotics. It's a wonderful product. But she created it because something like that didn't exist. And she, would have electrolytes, but there'd be a lot of sugar or salt or ingredients you can't pronounce. So she decided to pivot her company and build something that she wished existed. I've always loved fitness. I love building community. I also love wine. So why not create a lifestyle gym that has like monthly, quarterly member socials, and we will have wine after our workout. And we do, holiday parties for our personal training clients, and we have wine and cheese and things that some people might think that you don't have, or that you need to be restrictive of when it comes to having a, fit body, healthy lifestyle. All of those things are very balance oriented, and it's things that I enjoy. Working out and wine are both on my joy list. So I'm going to combine the two together and have it in our business and for our community, and see those relationships grow over, sweating together, pushing heavy weights, pulling heavy weights, doing hard things, and then being able to celebrate that, workout victory with a glass of wine and good connection and conversation. And it's really nice to see that balance. And I think that it's a beautiful balance that you can weave into whatever you want. Anyone listening to this in both of our communities, what is it that you want to create? What is it that you wish existed? And how can you take these baby steps, these actionable steps, to build what you wish you had at your disposal?
I really relate to what you're saying, because I remember 8 years ago when I wanted to start a community, like a health inspired community. I remember my business coach was like, that's a great idea, but this is going to be super hard. I was like, I'm up for hard, because I think it's worth me figuring out if it doesn't exist. So I need to create it. And, we've certainly had our fair share of pivots and, things don't work out, or, launches that flop, but I wouldn't trade it for a minute. I think I couldn't agree more with what you just said. I think we need more women in the space who figure out or see a problem that needs correction, or a product that needs to be created, and go out and do it, right? Like, I think it's so vitally important. And I think one of the things that you and I have connected so much on is, getting in those rooms and, working with coaches and collaborating with like-minded individuals. Like, I am more careful these days about how and who I talk to, especially with some of my most,
Deep
prized
secrets,
ideas.
totally.
Yeah. And what I really loved about you and our quick connection actually is just also your equal transparency. And I think a very similar level of willingness to put yourself out there and try new things and get in those rooms and grow and expand. And it's super invigorating and inspiring to be around.
Well, it's really fun. And I've learned this, especially over the last 2 years. Matt, my husband, and I have been investing a lot more, and we've been growing in our business. So that means that we are now investing larger dollars in, getting in those rooms, having mentorship and support, networking. And we've really felt that expansion. And I love going deep with people in terms of the conversations, rather than asking, like, Michelle, what are you going to have for dinner tonight?
Yeah.
Tell me what your big goals are. But I totally agree with what you've already shared about, you have to be very mindful of who you are having those conversations with, because not everyone's going to be in your cheer squad. Some people will be nosy and they'll just want to take that information, and maybe they use it against you. Maybe they start a rumor and they change the number, or they change your goals. My dad used to always say that you want to keep your cards really close to your chest. And that kind of applies to, I don't know, dating somebody new for the first time and not oversharing with your girlfriends or business ideas. And both of us have had a lot of really beautiful learning lessons along the way. And that's a wonderful thing about entrepreneurship.
Such a nice way to say it.
Isn't it? I'm saying it with the biggest smile for all of our listeners, that those challenges are just wrapped up in a pretty little bow as a gift from the universe in the form of a lesson. Or that lesson is in the form of challenge. Maybe that makes more sense. No matter what, they're not super ideal, but we can extract learning lessons from them. And I think even sharing vulnerably with the right people can be quite powerful, because I think a lot of us in the entrepreneurship space, as high performing entrepreneurs, you want to have a lot of that mindset work, that mindfulness work. And I love talking about my goals, and then I love talking about how I'm going to celebrate my goals when I get there. But it's also knowing who to have those conversations with.
Yeah, I'm still definitely learning that, and appreciate those when you finally make that connection, when it's aligned. I definitely don't like to do surface level anymore either. I've noticed that about myself. I'm like, I don't want to talk weather.
Peel back the layers. Tell me the good stuff.
Yeah.
And how can we help each other? Or, those are some of the things that I really get a lot of joy from, is referring people and supporting each other. And I think that's something that even comes as a result of community, is knowing how you can support people with their businesses, with their products. We had another interview before this one, and then we all went to get a coffee, and now you have an eyebrow appointment booked, and you're going to be supported and taken care of. Probably have a swag bag of product waiting for you at HB Face Oakville, because of this room that we're in, recording podcasts together, and like-minded energy and mindsets, that you are excited to support Haley, who you just met, and she's excited to take care of you and make you feel beautiful by way of what she does. And I love that so much. And I think when you can sit in that energy of how you want to support your peers and people in your community, that it doesn't feel like work. You're always doing the work for your network. I heard Brendan Bouchard say something like that at one of the events that I attended earlier this summer that Chris and Lori Harder hosted. And he had so much wisdom. He's just like this amazing energizer bunny. And he talked about supporting your network and always working for your network on their behalf. And I thought that was a really powerful takeaway.
Where do you think that comes from for you? Because I think that's a really special thing that you have, where you really are trying to support and facilitate collaboration and connections.
I think knowing and really feeling, which I will put some heavy weight on that is important, of like really truly feeling it, not pretending it, but being in that state and of belief that there is so much opportunity to go around and there is room for all of us at the top. There's room for all of us to win. There's room for all of us to make millions of dollars and have so much abundance and success, but you have to really truly feel that. You can't pretend, because that energetic alignment, like I'm kind of woo scale. I'm not super woo, but I'm not anti-woo. But I do feel like there's a lot to be said about the energy that you sit in and how you facilitate those conversations and referrals, and really truly feeling that there is so much opportunity to go around and there's so much room for all of us at the top.
Yeah. Okay. So what I hear from that is a really high level of self-trust and self-respect, which allows for you to not worry about it taking anything away from you by helping other people and supporting what they're doing.
Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes there is a time where I'm like, I would love some referrals to come back my way. I have my moments. I am human.
You're human.
I am human. But at the same time, like really believing that reciprocity, like it'll come back. And I've loved hearing this from some of the people that I look up to, that they say like this or something better. Yeah. So I'm excited to make referrals and I'm excited to see you win, but I'm excited to see this or something better come back for me. And I think if we can say that with confidence and feel that it will come back better.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty woo.
Yeah.
So
you're probably more woo than me, but teach me, give me your woo ways.
I think that that's absolutely true. I think, from a vibration perspective, I think always maintaining your own integrity and high vibe and putting that out into the world, that's what you're going to attract. And you might not always see, immediately the hard efforts that you put into being generous, but yeah, you're never going to lose by being generous and always thinking of others.
I've even heard that when it comes to philanthropy, whether it's tipping like a larger percentage or giving money away to causes that you love and support, that we need to have this, and this is kind of going in the direction of money and money mindset, but having that great relationship with money where, okay, I'm going to donate $100 to, I'm a big supporter of mental health, so I'm going to use CAMH as an example. I'm going to donate $100 to CAMH, even if maybe I only made $250 this week. I think when you are in more of that, starting phase of building your business and your relationship with money, that can feel super scary. Mm-hmm. But knowing that you have to feel it, the energy behind giving that $100 away, that you're probably going to get $300 back somewhere, and being excited to give away that money. And I remember actually when I did not have a great relationship with money and I would get checks in the mail from my network marketing company, I got to a point where I would celebrate the check. Like, oh my gosh, I just made $35 and I'm so excited for this check. And this check is going to buy me bananas or, a couple things on the grocery list. But having the moment of celebration, and I think you can apply that to a lot of things, where if you do receive a referral, I just referred a photographer who did one of my recent events, and I referred her to for a paid opportunity, and she was so excited and sent me this beautiful text like thanking me for the referral. And that is so nice to receive when you can have someone's love and gratitude and appreciation to receive. That's just moving great energy around.
Mm-hmm. I had a mindset coach that would make us pull out cash, and we would literally have to go and like hand it out in really uncomfortable situations where people would be like, why are you, and you think you're good with all of that until you start watching how we all are, because money has such it's a frequency, right? It's inert, but it's the power we give over it. But I love that you share that, because I find that really interesting. And now I try and live by that I always have that idea of circulation and wanting to watch where it's going to come from, because it's pretty cool when you start to step into a new level of thinking about that and not worrying about what you're going to get versus what how you want to give.
Thank you so much for listening. If you loved this episode, it would mean the world to me if you took 30 seconds and shared this on social media, send it to a friend, or leave a 5-star review. There is power in community, and I am so grateful to have you part of mine.